everybody, and welcome to the NFL edition of Proline. Jim Feist is here. I'm Dave Koken. We hope you had a great holiday, and I tell you what, if you're looking for some post-Christmas action, wow, we got some this weekend. A full slate of NFL games the last week of the season, and while there are some meaningless games out there, boy, oh boy, there's a few that have a lot of meaning. We're going to look at two of the big ones today, Cowboys, Redskins, Packers, Vikings, and we'll also hear from Jeff Sada, our man of the street. We'll have our Twitter/Facebook question of the week as well. And before we do that, we'll tell you about what we got going this weekend. I'll start since it looks like Jim might be making a bet right now. Hey.
You know what? I'm a betting maniac, man. When I see an edge, when I see something here, weather report, I go for it. I'm right there.
Yep. Well, you're going to solve the mystery now. What did you just spot?
I can't tell you, Dave. It's one of my big plays.
Oh, well, all right. That's all there is to it. All right, let's look at some football. And the Packers take on the Vikings. And there's a lot on the line here, Jim, because the Packers want to get a bye week. Now, they could still get one if they lost and some other things happened, but they're not going to count on that because San Francisco's playing Arizona, and the likelihood of them losing that is remote. So the Packers want to win this game. The Vikings have to win this game if they're to have realistic hopes of getting into the postseason. They've done very well, but, 9-7 with the tiebreakers, good chance they get knocked out if they don't win this game. So you got a tremendous matchup between teams that are rivals here to begin with. Both teams are in very good form right now. Packers have gotten red hot. Aaron Rodgers is just blazing right now. And Adrian Peterson is carrying the Vikings to a much better record than anybody thought they would have. They're one of the real surprise teams in the league. A 3-point line, Green Bay's favorite on the road, 46.5 the total. Tough one. This is tough, Jim.
Well, it says here the Green Bay Packers clinch a first-round bye with a Green Bay win or a San Francisco plus Seattle loss. Well, we know those two things aren't going to happen.
Right.
So a Green Bay win gets them a bye. Motivationally, when you know you're in the playoffs, I think you psychologically relax a little bit. Minnesota, they have no choice, pretty much. I mean, because all the other things that have to happen, which would be kind of incredible, I think, Minnesota needs to win this game. If they don't win it, they need a Chicago, a Dallas, and a New York Giants loss. But they're all possible. They could happen. But Minnesota has their own destiny. They have control of it. They've been very tough, a lot tougher than most people gave them credit for. We know who the best quarterback is by far. I mean, Aaron Rodgers versus Ponder it's night and day. But we also know who the best running back is. You got the home field advantage. I don't know. How much do you relax once you know you're in the playoffs? Even though you want to improve your position, there's not the desperation. Oh my God, if I lose this game, I'm not in. Well, that's where Minnesota is. Green Bay, on the other hand, knows they're in, and they can relax if they want to. But that means that they don't get that bye, which I'm sure everybody does want. This is one of the dilemmas of handicapping the final week of the year. But that's what we do, and we're going to be digging into the motivational issues of both teams as the week goes on. And it's going to be and of course you got Adrian Peterson needs, I think, 208 yards to break the record. He got 210 the first time these two teams played. I doubt that he'll get 208. But I think it's going to come down to Christian Ponder, whether he can stay in the game and do a little bit, because the last time they played, he actually threw the game away. He had several interceptions in the red zone where they actually should have won the game. And that was on the road. So he did play a little bit better last week when Peterson was held down a little bit, and Ponder did deliver. But there's a tremendous mismatch at quarterback, no question about it.
I've always subscribed to the theory that improving your seed in the playoffs is more important to the fans and the media than it apparently is to the players. Now, that sounds ridiculous, but the results year after year have indicated that once you make the playoffs, teams have a tendency to relax. If you look at last weekend, well, the Houston Texans were already in the playoffs, and they were horrible at home against the Vikings. The Broncos did okay. I didn't think they were sensational last week, but they were playing Cleveland. They got through that game. The Patriots, they're in the playoffs. They almost got beat by Jacksonville. Jacksonville's really bad. In the NFC, the 49ers already clinched their playoff spot. They were never in the game last week. Green Bay, on the other hand, did extremely well. The Redskins, well, no, I shouldn't count the Redskins because they haven't clinched anything. Oh, the Falcons. Falcons, what did the Falcons do last week? I can't remember. Oh, yeah, okay. Well, they got by Detroit.
They won on the road in Detroit.
I didn't think the Falcons were real good in that game. I didn't think they were sharp. They were fortunate enough to be playing Detroit. Anyway, I think that people have a tendency to overrate this stuff. So, to me, if you're going on need, just on need, the Vikings are the side here. The problem with that is that's the other end of the equation. Just because a team needs to win doesn't mean they win the game. And you're going to see some numbers in games this week where it's made based on the fact that one team needs to win and the other one doesn't. And don't get trapped on those because they can very quickly lead you to the loser circle. Ponder is playing better for Minnesota. If he plays at the level he did last week against Houston, there's a good chance they're going to win this game. But the problem with Ponder is that there's no way of knowing whether he can do that 2 weeks in a row or not. He is not a consistent quarterback.
He's one of those situations that he really doesn't have much help in the passing game. I mean, he really doesn't have that much talent to go along with a good passing game. And the Percy Harvin's getting hurt really slowed down his progress. So, but I was listening to John Madden a few weeks ago, and he made the very point that you and I are discussing here. When a team makes the playoffs, no matter what their position is, they relax because there's such an intensity to get there. And once they get there, it's like running a marathon. You finish the marathon, then you have to go run another one just because you want to, but you don't. So it's kind of like you can't emotionally get into it. I mean, the problem with the Packers is they're so damn good in their passing game that Minnesota really doesn't defend the pass all that well.
No.
So you really got one strength against a weakness. So it's a very difficult handicap. I too think Minnesota has a chance to pull this out. I think they're going to be highly motivated. They're underskilled, but it's capable. They're capable of doing it. But Madden's point was that teams do relax once they get there. And your point is well taken too. Just because a team needs to win doesn't mean they will, because that's a lot of pressure as well. So this is week 17, and this is the dilemma that we always have to talk about at the end of the year. There are some games where, well, the Washington-Dallas game is quite interesting.
Well, hold on before we get to that.
They moved
because we're gonna get into that game. I'm going to give a pick on the Packers and Vikings anyway. I think the game goes over. It's been a very high-scoring series. 7 of the last 9 over. 9-2-1 last 12 in Minnesota. That doesn't mean a great deal. I'm not a history guy. Perfect conditions, though. Why not? I think both offenses will have a decent day. Our Twitter question of the week. You can send this in by following us at Twitter at Jim Fice Sports or on Facebook at Proline TV. Bailey Stoddard. I always know whether it came from Facebook or Twitter by whether we've got a full name and address. And here it's Bailey Stoddard, Oakland, California. Well, this obviously came on Facebook. Should we trust Jim Harbaugh's quarterback judgment or roast him for panicking and possibly messing up a Super Bowl team? Well, I'll give my opinion. I don't think he messed up at all. I think he's got the better quarterback on the field. They're a better football team, in my opinion, with Colin Kaepernick than they are with Alex Smith. I'm not going to judge. To me, this sounds like, and no offense, Bailey, but it sounds like you're making a judgment off a bad game at Seattle. One game. How about the week before in New England? He was sensational in that game. 49ers are in a bad spot. Colin Kaepernick had an off game. So did the rest of the team. I don't even think there's any question at this point who should be playing quarterback for the 49ers. This guy's got a chance to be a star. Alex Smith's a good quarterback. He can play for a lot of teams. But my opinion on it, Jim, yours might be different, but mine is that he's got the best guy on the field, and you always go with the best guy.
Well, Dave, the situation is this. They won the West, which is exactly what they wanted to do. They would have won the West anyway without Alex Smith, in my opinion. Kaepernick has a bigger upside than Smith. There's no question. Smith has been around the league for 8 or 9 years. He doesn't have the physical abilities that Kaepernick has, the big arm, the tremendous ability to run. He seems to make pretty decent decisions as well. He's more of a wild card when he's on the field. Alex Smith is very conservative. He doesn't make mistakes. But that was their style. Run the ball well, play strong defense, score enough points to win the game. Don't make any mistakes. Don't turn the ball over in the wrong spots, setting the other team up for easy scores. That was what Jim Harbaugh wanted. And that's what he got with Alex Smith. Now, I don't think it was smart to change when he did. The reason is the guy, the previous 2 games was 25 out of 27, 70% completion rate for the year. Last year he took them to the championship game. They should have won it. A couple fumbles by another player that was substituting. The only reason they didn't get into the Super Bowl. None of that was the fault of Alex Smith. I don't bench Alex Smith based on his poor performance. I'm benching him because I think this other guy is going to be better. Now, you got a guy that's winning, 70% completion rate, 25 out of 27 the previous 2 weeks, took you to the championship game last year, has got you headed there this year. I don't make that decision. When I'm playing poker and they deal me aces, and I say, maybe I can get a royal flush. I throw an ace away. I don't do that. I'm going to play the hand I got until I can't play it anymore. I think it was improper to do what he did. And I think it's going to bite him in the ass. Honestly, I think this guy, even though he's very talented, I remember Al McGuire said once, he's passed away a long time ago, but he once said the best thing about a rookie, or in his case, a freshman, is that he's going to become a sophomore. Because these guys make critical mistakes under pressure. He's had no real pressure. He threw the game away, and you're forgetting this. In St. Louis, he made 3 critical mistakes. In St. Louis, 3 critical mistakes at the end of the game that cost them that football game. So it isn't just last week.
No.
It's 2 games. So I think what's going to happen, he's going to get into a pressure cooker game. It's going to be on him. He's going to read a defense improperly because the coaches are going to get used to what this kid does, and they're going to start game planning for him. Now, it all changes because those guys on the other side, those defensive players, those defensive coaches are pretty damn smart, and they know he's a rookie. He hasn't seen this coverage before. He hasn't seen that coverage before. They're going to step up and they're going to blindside this guy. He's going to make a mistake, and they're going to go home. Okay, that's my opinion. I think he made a mistake at the wrong time. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And nothing Alex Smith did deserved to be benched. Wrong move at the wrong time. I think Harbaugh is a very good coach, but I think sometimes he can be a real stubborn guy. and he has to do it his own way, and maybe that'll work for him. But I just don't think, years ago they say, was it Bledsoe and then Brady? Belichick did that. But Bledsoe wasn't playing to the quality Alex Smith was when they benched him. He wasn't hitting 70% of his passes. He didn't hit 25 out of 27 in the last 2 games. He didn't do those things. And they put Brady in. And he played well and they kept him in. Different story. Not the same situation. Alex Smith was playing A-plus football. He deserved to be on the field. He still deserves to be on the field, in my opinion. Big mistake.
It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out because they're not going to be the number 1 seed. Might be the number 2. Might be the number 3. They'll be in it. I will say one thing. If they don't win it, Harbaugh will definitely have to shoulder the blame, particularly if Kaepernick is the reason why. So it's going to be fun to watch that. All right, Cowboys and Redskins. How much is on the line here? Now, unlike the Packers and Vikings, where at least one of the teams is already in, we don't have anybody in this game right now. Washington's in good shape. They control their own destiny. If they win the game, they win the NFC East. But so does Dallas. The only difference is the Cowboys have to win to make the playoffs. The Redskins could still make the playoffs, even if they lose this football game. If the Bears and Vikings were to both lose, which is possible. The Vikings are an underdog, and it's not like the Bears they're not a lock against Detroit. Detroit's pretty bad right now, but the game is in Detroit, and it's a rivalry, so you never know. Redskins could get in, but the reality is the winner of this game is going, and the loser of this game is probably not. So this is as big as it gets. It's the Sunday night game, and here's my one take on it, because I'm not going to give away the store on this. I think if you like Dallas, you have to take it now. If you like Dallas. Even if you don't like Dallas, it's probably not the worst move in the world to take it now, because you can get 3.5 points. Now, if things fall the way they could on Sunday, if the Vikings lose and the Bears lose, this game won't mean anything to the Redskins. It would mean, a division title and a home game, but they'd be in anyway, which would really, I think, take an edge off. The bottom line is this. There's no question that if that scenario were to unfold, regardless of what you think might happen in this game, if that scenario were to unfold, the line of this game would not be 3.5. I think it would drop considerably, and you'd be setting yourself up for a really nice middle opportunity in what figures to be a close game anyway. So to me, there's value in at least speculating on the Cowboys plus 3.5 right now.
I can't disagree with you, Dave. This is a strange scenario. Now, let's look at this. It's supposed to be like 39 degrees in Washington. There's supposed to be some rain over the weekend. Not necessarily into Sunday, not sure about it. The wind is going to be in the 20 miles per hour area, which isn't terribly significant, but you add it all together. The pressure of this game is big. Washington went down to Dallas and beat them earlier. These two teams absolutely hate each other. There's something about the chemistry between these two clubs. This is a big rivalry in the NFC East. They absolutely hate each other. Dallas has revenge. Dallas has been playing pretty well. Yes, they lost last week to the Saints, but arguably the Saints have one of the most prolific offenses in all of football and pretty much got screwed over by, Roger Goodell and all that stuff that he did. And this team might be further along, and we're talking about them going into the playoffs as well. You're not going to slow down, the Saints when they want to play, and they had scored quite a few points the week before against Tampa. They did it again last week. So I'm not going to knock Dallas too much on that case. They're not going up against the same kind of offense here. The other thing is a couple of weeks ago, RG3 missed a game because of a knee injury. Last week, he was not the same quarterback. He was not very mobile. He stayed in the pocket. He did beat Philadelphia But at the end of that game, Philadelphia had a pass in the end zone that Foles missed completely and could have tied the game, could have gone to overtime. So that wasn't that impressive a game for the Redskins. RG3 was not the same quarterback he had been previously. He wasn't as mobile. If he's like that this week, it's going to be easier for Dallas to defend him because they don't have to worry about him scrambling all over the place. And that is difficult for the defensive line and the backs, etc. So, yes, Dave's right. It's 3.5. There are 3.5s out there. You might even want to buy it to 4 if you want to get cute with it. And look for some certain things to happen. Line drops later. Weather gets even worse. Maybe the line goes down. Maybe it's 2, 1.5, whatever it might happen. And you have a buyback if you want to play that game. But this is the biggest game of the week, and they have flexed it. They moved it to 5:30. This is the game that's going the latest. Everything else is going to be done by the time they go on the field. They're going to know what they need to do. And there's no question, if Dallas wants to get in, they're going to have to win. And I don't think the Redskins will back off. I think this is going to be a war, and somebody's going to have to step up. I happen to be a Tony Romo fan. In my opinion, the guy's pretty good. If he was a free agent at the end of the year, he'd be the hottest property in the league. Everybody would want him. No question about it. Everybody knocks Romo. No reason to knock Romo. It's the garbage he has on his team that causes him more trouble. Coaching's bad. Wide receivers run the wrong routes. He's only got a couple of players he can depend on. They're getting better, though, the last few weeks. So I'm starting to get impressed with Des Bryant and some of the other guys. So, Miles Austin. But if he's got those guys' head in the game, and that's been the problem, getting their head in the game, he's pretty damn tough. And RG3 could end up being at home watching the playoffs.
Yeah, luck plays a lot. It's funny how it goes. Luck plays a lot of a major role. You know, you look at last week, Redskins got lucky. Nick Foles made a bad pass. He underthrew a wide open guy in the end zone at the end of that game. Dallas gets very unlucky. They make a great comeback, and then the Saints get a 20-yard plus on their own fumble in the overtime. I mean, you know, the Dallas guy picks it up. Dallas wins that football game. You know, it's just luck of the bounce sometimes. Best bet among the games we talked about, I do think you'll get points in the Packers and Vikings. Aaron Rodgers is really hot right now. I mean, really hot. And he's getting more weapons back at the skill positions, which is only going to help him. Vikings defense played well last week against Houston. I mean, there's no question about that. But it's still a defense that is vulnerable to the pass. I think the Packers will get their points here. And I think the Vikings are going to get their points, too. Listen, Harvin, why do we want to say Harvin? He's not there. But Adrian Peterson is. And Ponder's off a good confidence-building game. I think he can put some points up. It's not like the Green Bay defense is, well, it was good last week, but it's not sensational. So with the history there, why not? Over in the Packers and Vikings.
And as far as everybody's been burying this team. Joke. The quarterbacks are a joke. The owner's a joke. The whole decisions are jokes. Everybody. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to kick this one when they're down because I'm going to enjoy this. Buffalo Bills. Game of the best bet of the week. Buffalo Bills in Buffalo against the New York Jets. They are garbage. And from top to bottom, that organization sucks. And we're going to bury him right now. That's called passion, Dave.
Yeah, I think so, huh? At least they're not playing this one in Toronto, so maybe they'll do well. All right, don't forget there's a College Bowl edition of Proline for your viewing pleasure as well. So make sure and check that out. Take advantage of the offers. If you make you some money, that's what it's all about. Winning. It beats the hell out of losing, really. It feels a lot better. It's more fun. So watch the games and win the games and make the calls to get out with these specials. That's it. We're done. Talk to you next week, and don't forget to watch the Bowl edition. See ya.
Bye, Dave. See you guys.